Fox 61 News at 10 starts now.
Now at 10, you have probably seen one yourself lately. Bears out and about getting too close for comfort. How state leaders and DEP are working together to keep the bears at bay. Plus, Fairfield police identifying the victim in last night's homicide. The new details we are learning from the investigation. Plus, protesters rallied on the streets of the nation's capital to fight for abortion rights. The pressure they're putting on President Biden and his administration. The Fox 61 News at 10 starts right now. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Carmen Chow. DEP wants to remind people that bears can get too comfortable with humans if they are being fed or have access to food. Many towns passing ordinances to prevent people from feeding bears. Fox 61's Tony Black is live in Hartford after speaking with one Canton woman all too familiar with the animals at her home. Tony?
Yeah, Carmen, officials here at DEP have tried to work with state leaders in the past to try and enact laws that would prohibit people from intentionally feeding bears here in Connecticut. Now, it can become quite dangerous if they get too comfortable with people, so some of our towns have started to pass ordinances to try and prevent this.
If our dog is out and our dog is barking, we get a little bit nervous.
Bears are neighbors in many Connecticut communities, including Canton. Cindy Ronan sees them in her yard all the time, like this one.
There was a bear here just about a half hour ago.
But when they become too comfortable with people, it can be an issue. A Newtown man shot and killed a bear at his home in May after it no longer feared humans and started associating them with food. A similar situation happened in Canton last month after a bear broke into homes. Now, DEP officials say more needs to be done to try and change this habit.
But really, in the last 30 years, bears have become present again in the state and much more abundant.
Jenny Dixon says they've worked with the state legislature to try and enact laws to discourage feeding bears. She says many towns have started to inquire about ordinances for this reason. Granby, East Granby, Simsbury, and most recently Salisbury have ordinances banning the intentional feeding of bears.
When we had looked at a feeding ordinance, it was to address the issue of dangerous animals and the problem of habituation.
Some neighbors agree ordinances like this would be beneficial to both people and the animals.
It's great to be in, an area where there's a lot of wildlife, but if you're doing that and they're getting comfortable with maybe the scent of humans, that you're putting a lot of other people and animals at risk.
Dixon says this is an active time of year for bears, which means you'll see them more. Plus, the population is growing fast in Connecticut. DEP wants to find educational solutions to teach people about bad human habits while also having tools to punish those who intentionally teach the animals bad habits.
Connecticut is bear country now. It doesn't matter what town you live in, but you need to start acting accordingly and thinking about what you need to do to be bear aware.
Now, many of these town ordinances have monetary punishments for people who are found intentionally feeding the bears, some up to $250. Now, this time of year, DEP encourages people to put those bird feeders away, make sure your grills and your trash cans are properly stored, and of course, if you do see a bear, don't encounter it. In Hartford, Tony Black, Fox 61 News.
Yeah, as cute and cuddly as they appear to be, you definitely want to approach with caution. Thank you, Tony. Woodbridge police are warning residents to be on the lookout for mountain lions. Police say residents reported seeing mountain lions over the last few days on Salem and Pease roads. One of those mountain lions encountered a family on their lawn. DEP has some tips if you happen to encounter a mountain lion. Be mindful of small pets. Do not approach. Make yourself big. Do not run because it can trigger a chase. Make noise, and if a mountain lion approaches you, fight back by throwing rocks and other items at the mountain lion. Turning now to the weather watch. It's been so nice out, even wildlife are out and about taking advantage of these temperatures. Let's toss it over to meteorologist Sam Sampiri. Sam, it's good to have you join us tonight.
Well, yeah, thank you, Carmen. Good to be here. And what a perfect day it's been. I am speechless. It has been so long that I can remember this kind of a summer. Temperatures got into the low 80s, bright sun, blue skies all weekend, just perfect. We're already down to 62 Torrington. It is comfy. Yes, it's still in the low 70s in the inner cities, but 63 Norwich and 65 Willimantic. We have a bit of a southerly flow now. High pressure has built offshore. And so dew points are up just a little bit in the low 60s, but it's still in another comfortable night. We don't see any clouds in the sky. Actually, we have almost a full moon out there. It's clear. It's beautiful. We have high pressure in control. Temperatures dropping off overnight into the upper 50s to lower 60s. The sun will be coming up at about 5:20, I'd say about 5:27 now. And your commute forecast, not bad at all. Bright sun, blue skies. The sun is up at 5:26. Yeah, I was off by a minute. And you can see that the sun will go down tomorrow evening at 8:27. A beautiful day, mostly sunny in the 80s. Coming up, I will detail what you could expect this week. We have a big warm-up on the way and chances of storms, all in a few minutes. Carmen?
Sam, thank you. New at 10, a teenager is killed in a shooting at a birthday party in Fairfield. It happened at a church banquet hall Saturday night. Police say 15-year-old Zion Burton and a woman were shot. Burton died at the hospital and the woman was treated and released. Police say a non-church member and non-Fairfield resident rented out the hall, and there were around 150 to 200 people at the party.
We do our best to keep our community safe and, more importantly, try to keep the fear of crime at a minimum. And it's frustrating to have these incidents occur.
Police say the suspect fled the scene following the shooting. It's unclear what started the fight. Police say it was an isolated incident and that the suspect knew Burton. Also new at 10, one person is dead after a boating accident in Portland. State and Con police say 8 people were on a boat on the Connecticut River when the accident happened. 4 of them were sent to the hospital with injuries. An investigation into the deadly accident is ongoing. At least 10 people are displaced after a house fire in New Haven. Firefighters rushed to the scene of a 2-alarm fire on Hallock Avenue Saturday morning. Fire officials say the home is a total loss and people living at homes on either side of the burned home must leave as well until the home is demolished. No injuries were reported. Fresh off a trip to Ukraine, Senator Richard Blumenthal met with members of the Connecticut Ukrainian American community in New Haven today. Senators Blumenthal and Lindsey Graham met with Ukraine President Volodymyr Zelensky in Kiev to discuss the ongoing war. They also traveled to a Kiev suburb where Russian forces allegedly killed hundreds of innocent civilians.
We visited the scenes of atrocities, the mass grave sites in Bucha and some of the surrounding towns. It was absolutely shattering.
Senator Blumenthal says he was shaken by what he saw in the Kiev suburb. The White House is examining its options at how it can bolster abortion rights nationwide, with President Biden hinting at some of the options his administration is considering. Fox's Kevin Cork has the details from Washington.
President Biden on Sunday offering some words of encouragement to pro-choice activists, spurred into action by the Supreme Court's decision last month to overturn Roe v. Wade.
Keep protesting, because keep making your point. It's critically important. We can do a lot of things to accommodate the rights of women in the meantime.
Biden says he's currently weighing declaring a public health emergency, which would free up federal resources to maintain abortion access. With the midterms looming and abortion now a potential wedge issue in the minds of voters, the president is under increasing pressure from inside his own party to take more concrete steps to protect access. Biden does not have the power to overturn new laws already enacted by multiple states that restrict or ban abortion outright. That would require congressional action.
My ultimate goal is to reinstate Roe v. Wade as a national law by passing it in the United States Congress, and I'll sign it the moment that happens.
Republicans, meanwhile, say a federal law on abortion would be government overreach, maintaining that's a decision that should be left up to the states.
This is a moment for our country to have a discussion around this, and each state will decide something different. And I think that's the real value of the Supreme Court's decision.
A White House official on Friday called a potential declaration of a national health emergency not a great option, one that would almost certainly be challenged immediately in court. At the White House, I'm Kevin Cork, Fox News.
With catalytic converter thefts on the rise in Connecticut, one local auto repair shop is making sure you don't fall victim. Midas of Bristol teamed up with the city's police department to host an Etch-a-Converter event today. Free of charge, the Midas team spent the day etching people's vehicle identification numbers onto their catalytic converters. Those converters contain precious metals, which are very valuable when sold to scrap yards and heavy metals recyclers. Etching the VIN number onto a converter allows those recyclers to track which converter came off of which vehicle.
The state of Connecticut just passed a law that requires all of the, junkyard, and recyclers to record where they're getting their converters from. And, if applicable, record the VIN as well. So doing this, although it won't prevent someone, if they want your converter, they're going to get it, but it will certainly be a deterrent for them. And it'll be a lot easier to catch that person after the fact.
If you missed today's Etch-a-Converter event, the Midas team in Bristol says you can call them up to schedule a time for you to come in. Runners took over the streets around Plainville High School today for the 15th annual Pettit Family Foundation 5K road race. The road race was started by brothers Robert and Gary Heslin, classmates of Dr. William Pettit at Plainville High, class of 1974. Dr. Pettit's wife and two daughters were killed during a home invasion in Cheshire back in 2007. The race is ran to carry on the legacy of Dr. Pettit's family and in honor of his request to do good things for others. Participants turning out in force to support the cause.
They support a lot of people in the community, and so we have to support each other in this community.
The Pettit Family Foundation has awarded over $4.5 million in grants to programs and projects all over Connecticut and across the country.